Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2026 mod career mode. This is part number 3 today for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Yes, we are no longer finishing at Yas Marina, and we have an early race in Abu Dhabi. This is going to be quite interesting, comparing to how the Abu Dhabi race and the pace was at the very end of the last season. But last time out, we had the Las Vegas Grand Prix in part number 2. Be sure to go check that one out before you see this one, because it was a rather dramatic race, drama-filled really from start to finish. The start, very much so, with a jammed gear, not a gear gam, and we went down to last place, 6 seconds off the next car, and we had to dig deep the entire race to try and come back, and we were doing that very successfully with some lovely aggressive moves as well, threading the needle between two cars, the Ferrari and the Alpine at one point. You know, lap 19 up to P6, it was looking so great. Unfortunately, the jammed gear came back to bite us twice more in that race, and we ended up just off the podium in P5. It very much could have been a podium, but Lady Luck was not on our side. But Lady Luck was indeed on Pierre Gasly's side. He had a pretty uninterrupted Grand Prix, had to make some overtakes to get that race win, but it's a race win nonetheless for our teammate, and he gets the first win for this team this season, the first win for Lamborghini in Formula 1. But off the back of those issues we faced in Las Vegas, we have gone ahead and tackled the second engine development hurdle in this whole build your own engine mod for this series. So that was a gearbox sync issue. We plowed in 500 R&D points, $1 million to solve that issue. It's not a guarantee that it will completely solve any issues, even the overheating ICE, because obviously we're still facing quite, high levels of unreliability, not just for our team, but for every team with that huge regulation reset. We just saw Lando Norris go up in smokes with the Red Bull Ford. But what this should try and solve is the rather dramatic issue we had at Las Vegas, like it was the case in Australia, solving that dramatic overheating issue. And the next two hurdles, well, they're not really hurdles, they're actually extra development opportunities for making the engine even more fuel efficient. And then the last one there was making the MGU-K power even more increased. But those different aspects of the mod won't be accessible until later in the season. The fuel efficiency one, maybe in a couple of races, and then the MGU-K power will only be available till after the halfway point of the season, as those are locked off for now. Makes sense, because those are real quite big upgrades, and that will really give us a booster. But that means right now I think we're in a good place where maybe, hopefully, this third time lucky, this race will be a race where we are unimpeded by engine issues, and we can really stretch the legs of this Lamborghini engine and see what it's got. We make slight upgrades and movements in the R&D chart. I say slight, one of them being an ultimate rear downforce upgrade. So we are maxed out on aero. We're one upgrade away from maxing out the chassis, and then we've got the final few little in-game engine upgrades to make. But, slowly making our way towards McLaren and Red Bull. And look at the bottom there, we've got Alfa Romeo Haas making quite a leap away from Williams and Audi Sport. So is this the beginning of those bottom 4 teams making huge upgrades? Because that's actually a massive leap if you look at, relative to the rest of us at the top end. The amount we've upgraded versus Mercedes is an ultimate upgrade, and it's only moved ever so slightly compared to Haas. So Haas must have brought, like, I don't know, 4, 5 kind of ultimate worth level of upgrading. So that's quite good to see. So hopefully at some point, later on this season, we could have a pretty incredibly competitive grid. But it's still very much competitive, obviously, of course, right now for the top 10, with all of us so close together, ourselves, Merc, Aston Martin, Ferrari, Alpine. But of course, we have been looking to fry bigger fish with McLaren and Red Bull, and clearly our custom-built engine is helping to that, because we've had good pace. Gasly just won the last race. He had 2 pole positions in a row, so there's no doubting we've got speed. We just need to, hopefully on our side of the garage, have a bit more luck with that reliability and be able to actually showcase our speed. And to be honest, to be fair, it's not also luck, it's also just I need to try and actually figure out how to drive this car quick, because honestly, Gasly, even last season, there was quite a few times where he just had pace over me, and there was no answer to it. I just simply need to try and get quicker in this machine alongside him. So hopefully, maybe this race might be the beginning of that. Not exactly an incredible start to that journey as we end Q1 in P14, but Gasly's up there in P3, and generally speaking around here, compared to other circuits, that definitely take a bit more time to rubber in and kind of get in the flow of things. So let's see how Q2 goes as the sun has fully set here at Yas Marina, and it is nighttime once again here. It feels really odd to be here. It's so early in the season, but Yas Marina's chucked up some amazing finale races, so hopefully it chucks up a great round 3 race here. So at the moment in Q2, P6 and 7, I felt quite confident, you know, being closely matched to Gasly, that was going to be enough. Verstappen and Alonso yet to set lap times, and that is where maybe my confidence was undone. Absolutely. I have had my pants pulled down completely. This is horrendous. This is the kind of mistake that I can't be making after talking about wanting to improve and try and close up with Gasly. I just thought we had enough time. Clearly not. The track evolved so quickly that actually Gasly went 4/10 quicker than me, having been right there with me. Verstappen, though, is another big name that he has been knocked out. He's not even set a time for Ferrari there. So both myself and Verstappen, two big names, out in Q2. Mick Schumacher makes it through, both Alpines and both Mercs, which they'll be very, very happy about considering the kind of poorer start to the season they've had. But unfortunately, it's the same similar story yet again qualifying. I have not done a great job. Gasly has and continues to outshine me as a teammate. We've got making up to do. We won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix last season in that finale. From P11, it might be a little bit trickier this season, but I still feel confident in myself that I can go well around Yas Marina, and that the fact it's not a finale may take some pressure off the entire race and allow us to go even quicker maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go to the grid for the race.
So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Liam Lawson lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Russell, Mick Schumacher, the owner driver, Albon.
So for the first time this season, Pierre Gasly is not on pole position, and ominously, it is a 1-2 front row lockout for the McLaren boys. So Gasly, third place though, on the second row, so he can definitely challenge them, but showing that maybe McLaren looking a bit quicker around this circuit than our car. You know, at least in the other two races, having Gasly on pole was kind of like a, you know, evidence that the car can win the race. Whereas now, I don't know. From P11, we're just going to have to see how the first stint goes, and we'll just work from there, basically. But it seems like most of us have chosen the medium compound tyre. These first few cars, Schumacher, Russell, we should be able to get past them. I'm actually worried about the Alpines because they've looked very quick this season so far, so they may hamper our progress. But let's see. But it's a McLaren 1-2. How will it end by the end of this thing? It's round number 3 for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, strangely, as we go to 5 red lights, and we're underway. It's a slow getaway for Ocon there, who holds up his teammate. Russell also gets caught up. Schumacher with a good dive. Albon has come out of nowhere to overtake me. We're going to go down the inside and get the double pass to re-overtake him and someone else there, and also get Esteban Ocon just about as we go around the outside there. But it's still a 1-2 for McLaren. Liam Lawson, though, is the one that leads the way. Oscar Piastri nipping at his heels, then closely followed by Lando Norris, Fernando Alonso, and Pierre Gasly. Gasly has had another poor start. That's 3 starts where he's gone backwards. That is definitely something he needs to solve. I mean, I say that. He went on to win the Las Vegas Grand Prix, so it didn't matter too much last time out, but it may matter this time because I have a feeling McLaren and Red Bull are just a little bit quicker this race. It may suit their car better. You know, we won that race last season because we did an alternate strategy. We went very early onto hards, and to be honest, I might do the same again and just kind of learn from the homework we did last season as we easily overtake Leclerc and should hopefully get Schumacher on the inside. Maybe can we commit? We are going to. Schumacher, though, does very well to keep the car around the outside, but ultimately we have the pace, and now we're kind of at the minimum position we should have been, really, from qualifying, because all we've got ahead of us are the usual suspects, the 2 Red Bulls, the 2 McLarens, and our teammate. But at the moment, once again, as we saw in Las Vegas, the 2 Red Bulls are fighting amongst each other, and they're leaving Lawson. Bit of breathing room there. 1.4 seconds the gap is to the Kiwi driver in first place, as Piastri gets very, very close to making some contact with Pierre Gasly. He loves to cut that corner, doesn't he, Piastri? He did that in the finale as well, when he got quite desperate in the title fight. No desperation of any kind, or there shouldn't be, in round 3 of this 2026 season, but clearly there is, as once again we focus on the 2 Red Bull Fords, and this is an absolutely exquisite battle. It's a very similar one to the one Lando was having with Verstappen last season in that final race, and just like then, he's now lost him and his teammate multiple seconds to the race leader. Liam Lawson 3 seconds ahead now with the fast lap of the Grand Prix, absolutely blitzing the field at the moment as we catch up now to our teammate. He's P4, we're P5. I'm looking to maybe swap that around. It doesn't seem like Gasly is too quick around here. He wasn't last season, to be honest, as well. So I think as an individual driver, Gasly just doesn't go as well at Abu Dhabi. And that means in a race like this where we have to be overtaking, we have to be trying to finish ahead of him, because, you know, there are going to be those other circuits like Las Vegas, like Singapore later down the line, where we know from last season how quick he was. But here we go, not only for the 1, 2, maybe even 3 moves, because Gasly overtakes both Red Bull cars. We go for the trying to catch the slipstream from him, and it hasn't worked out. Unfortunately, we've had to tuck in behind Lando Norris and go back down to P4, but it's almost like Gasly heard me talking about how slow he is around this circuit, because that was a really great double pass by him. But in the end, we're going to finish off that move and get ahead of Lando Norris. But Gasly comes back at us. He's really wanting not to give up this position, but ultimately I think we are quicker. We can't quite make a move on the inside here, but it's only a matter of time before maybe we swap positions and we're in second place. But fair play, both times, as I've been speaking about Gasly being slow, he's actually going to prove me wrong there and overtaking the car he needs to overtake. But as I'm moving about in the slipstream, trying to maybe pressurize him, we've got a great fight going on here, and it's Schumacher and Piastri side by side. They've both overtaken Alonso, and that's because Alonso, he's got a mechanical issue. I've been told on my team radio he's slow, and you can see the evidence right here. He's gone from P2 down to P7. It's going to be a long day in the office for Red Bull, at least on that side of the garage. Obviously, Lando Norris just suffered an engine failure last race, and now Alonso's got issues. So it's not just our team. It's not just our team with Lamborghini that are facing reliability issues in this season. You know, a fresh set of engine regulations, it's always going to happen. You know, it may not happen straight away. It did for us, but for Red Bull, they're now starting to creep in these few moments of being a bit slow, as Alonso is now, wow, down to P9. It's a long, long day ahead for the Spaniard. Ocon is past him. Leclerc's past him as well. He's coming back at him a little bit, but Ocon does well to overtake Leclerc as well at the same time as overtaking Fernando Alonso. And Alonso putting up a bit more of a fight versus Leclerc. Maybe his car is speeding up again because those temporary mechanical issues do solve themselves eventually. So maybe Alonso can still recover to a good position. But right now, Ocon and Leclerc ahead of him. Schumacher, Piastri next. Gasly now trying to chase after Lando Norris. We've got a gap, a sizable gap to Lando Norris as we pull away and try to chase after Liam Lawson. We look like the only man likely to be chasing after Liam Lawson, as it's 3 abreast for Piastri. Norris and Gasly still 3 wide through that right-hander chicane. It's a very tight spot. That was never going to work. 3 of them all into one corner, and eventually Piastri has to give up that position. But some great aggressive moves going on there. It was Piastri to the inside, Lando in the middle, and now Lando's gone ahead and re-overtaken Gasly. So those 3 swapping left, right and centre as Ocon and Leclerc continue to battle Russell. Leclerc having fully overtaken Alonso, who's now out the points. And if he keeps going as slow as he is, he might have Max Verstappen for company, who's having a torrid time in that Ferrari of his, compared to Schumacher up in P6. What is going on? Verstappen's struggling to getting used to that Ferrari, whereas Mick Schumacher's really taken to it quite quickly this season so far. That's going to be an interesting one to maybe look at over the course of the season. Is on lap 10, we are deciding to come in, because you may have seen on the right-hand side of that heads-up display for a moment, my front right tyre was cooked. It's been a long time since I've seen the internal carcass temperature be an issue in the F1 game, because it was a major issue a couple of games ago, but since then, you know, enough people complained that it was a bit too unrealistic, and they definitely changed how the physics work of the tyres. But that surprised me to actually see that internal temperature very hot. And if you don't know what that means, is there's a surface temperature and there's an internal temperature to these tyres on the F1 games. Now, usually the last couple of games, it's not really been much of an issue, but previously, like a couple of years ago, sometimes when you got towards a maxed out car, the internal temperatures really got cooking because there was so much, you know, downforce and force has been put through the tyre in the game, basically. And it basically meant when that temperature's too high, it makes your front end really understeery. There's no response because the tyres internally are too hot. And to see that issue crop up now after so many years back on this game was a surprise and a bit of a concern. Maybe are we going to see more of those tyre temp issues as we go on through, because we are very much close to a maxed out car. So that's something to think about potentially, and that's the reason why I wanted to get off those medium tyres. And you know what, maybe that's a reason why lately I've been enjoying the hard compound more, because it's a tyre you can lean on. It's a tyre that doesn't heat up as much internally, and maybe that's the sole reason why I've been going quicker on hards every single time. Is I've just not been checking the temperatures, and I've not been seeing that every single time the mediums feel poor. Maybe it's the carcass temperature that's just feeling horrendous. And a confirmation of those hards working well as we come from so far back to dive bomb George Russell, and we're already now at the back of the top 10. These guys have yet to pit, and we've caught them back up now on lap 13. Such is the pace of these hards in clean air versus the mediums. And who knows, maybe the AI are also feeling those internal temperature issues as we go and overtake Ricciardo, Leclerc, Ocon soon as well. So this could be 4 overtakes by the end of the lap, pretty much near enough, as Ocon will be able to defend through this section. Very difficult to make a pass on the inside or outside as we get close to the wall, and all the corners very, very tricky in terms of single file, really, with the momentum you have to carry through. And Ocon is going to stay ahead for now, but I think on this exit we should have the traction to outdo him. Under power though, the Alpine not too bad actually, because Ocon is still side by side with me. You have to give him some room on the inside, but eventually we do get the move and we're up into P6. But Schumacher 3.3 ahead of us, and then ahead of him is Gasly, our teammate. So Gasly's only 6 seconds ahead of us, and he's yet to pit. So that's how much time I've gained back pitting so early once again for the hard compound tyre. 4 laps after I pit, Lando's in. You can see one of the McLarens of Piastri because Lawson continues on, and Gasly and the Ferrari of Schumacher are in. So 4-5 laps of an undercut. And you can see the difference there. We're 13.6 seconds off Lawson as well. So I reckon he's within our undercut. I think we... Oh, what the... Oh, Max Verstappen's crashed. He's crashed at the corner, at the very corner. The goat's teeth he crashed so many years ago now in 2021. Unbelievable. Verstappen has crashed at that corner and has brought out a safety car. That's ironic. Liam Lawson pits under the safety car. I was a little bit worried that, is he just been lucked into a race lead under the safety car? But no, I was so close to him before the safety car came out that I will still be overtaking him into first place. So once again, just like last season, pitting early for hards, either way, safety car or no safety car, has worked out in our favour. We've got that undercut But under this safety car, as we go around very slowly behind Bert Mylander, we've got a few interesting radios. Apparently, we've lost some data sensors and some readings in our car, which is a little bit worrying. But right now, apparently, no major issue with that. Just some sensors being faulty. But what is an issue is some information on Gasly. They're slowing down. So Gasly's got a problem. Just like Fernando Alonso had earlier in the race. Gasly now has a mechanical issue, and so this put my brain into teammate mode. Let's play the team game. If I go slow enough under the safety car, that will mean less time that Gasly has to drive around at full pace with a car issue. So I'm the leader, I control the pace, so I just thought I'd go as slow as possible, warm up my tyres a little bit on the rear end, and try and give Gasly as little time as possible green flag racing with that issue. So never say I don't do anything for my teammates. But Liam Lawson took this opportunity to just bolt it, and he overtakes me before the start-finish line. And I'm pretty sure that's an illegal overtake, because in the past, yes, the rule has been once you pass the safety car line, you can overtake. But I'm pretty sure as it stands now in the rules, and on this game at least as well, it's the start-finish line. So Liam Lawson has just illegally overtaken me without penalty. I asked my team about the car ahead. All they can tell me is I've lost a position and they're pulling away from me. Yeah, of course they are, because he bloody went early. I was the leader. He couldn't overtake me, and yet he has, and he has got no penalty. This is unacceptable, FIA. Unbelievable from FIA. As we now defend Oscar Piastri, we're under attack from a second McLaren as we just about fend him off, but I can't believe this. Lawson now streaking ahead by 2.6 seconds. In a race lead he shouldn't have. And now it's left us to defend against Piastri and Lando Norris, who come either side of us. McLaren and Red Bull, 3 abreast here with myself. We're on the inside. We're going to duck out of that because I can see the writing on the wall, so we went early on the brakes. We're going to repass Lando Norris. We've let Piastri through into P2, but it's fine. We can get him back now on this slingshot using all the ERS that we've got to dump to try and repass him for second place. As we go round the outside, is Schumacher is now having a go at Lando Norris out of nowhere. The Ferraris come into the fight as well. It's a 4-way battle from P2 down to P4 as we continue to go side by side with Piastri. Piastri just about nips in. Oh, Lando Norris is out. What happened there? The Red Bull has crashed, and I think he's crashed onto the rear end. Oh, he's crashed onto the rear end of our car. Lando, no. What's gone on there? I was fully focused on my battle with Piastri and, you know, maybe broke a little early to give Piastri room, but that's meant that Lando's just come steaming in way too hot. He's obviously focusing on Schumacher, and he just misjudged it, and a second safety car is out, and we are making the executive decision to come in. This is a risky play, but we're coming in under this second safety car. Now, you may be screaming, what on earth am I doing? But we're coming in for a set of soft tyres, and they're a fresh set of soft tyres because I didn't make Q3, so I have one new set of softs left. We're now down to effectively last place in this race under the safety car. This seems like the most foolish decision ever, but here's my reasoning. I was third place there behind both McLarens. Now, I reckon I could have defended first place if I was actually allowed to stay in first place, if Lawson didn't illegally overtake me. But that's one thing. Defending's one thing. Going and attacking and chasing the two McLarens is another thing. And Piastri, before that safety car came out, actually did fully overtake me. He was ahead of us just as Lando crashed into us, and he got me. And I actually wasn't too confident about my chances of actually repassing Piastri for one, and then even having a quarter of a chance of chasing after Liam Lawson, because remember, my tyres, my hards, were 5 laps older than all those guys, and it worked out for us last season, but clearly I think McLaren look a bit quicker this season than they were last season here in Abu Dhabi. So I reckon the only way I even keep third place is making this free pit stop under the safety car. I actually think, well, you know, Lando nearly did overtake us. Schumacher was on the back of us. I don't think we actually make the podium if we stay on those hard tyres. I think we would have been swallowed up by even more cars behind us. You know, just look at Gasly's pace. Yes, with issues, but still, So I've gone for the softs, and the task at hand is just trying to get back on the podium. I don't think the McLarens, I don't think anyone can get them. I think they're too quick in clean air. And that 1-2 they've got, I think they're going to lock that down. So the task is simple, driving back to the podium we were in. So this will be our bid to go from P20 to P3. 17 overtakes in only 7 laps. And it begins here right now on the safety car restart. And you know what? I fancy testing something out here. I'm going to overtake Sargent before the start-finish line. And you know what happens? I get an illegal overtake warning. And I'll have to concede position. Unbelievable how a certain McLaren did not get the same treatment when they illegally overtook me, even before the last corner. FIA, as we overtake Sargent. Not salty at all, I'm not. As we get into P19 on the Andretti, and immediately looking to size up the next 5 cars really in the next lap. To be honest, that's the rate of pace that we need to be going at, and I think that we can have with these fresh soft tyres. So we go for a lunge and a half on Bottas, on Perez. It's the double pass on the Alfa Romeo, Haas and the Andretti. And we set our sights immediately on the next 3 to, I think, even 4 cars that might be ahead of us on this one straight. And we're going to set up the move on the outside using the tyre grip we've got of these fresh softs to go around the outside of 1, 2, maybe even 3 cars in one foul swoop. And then to the inside of Felipe Drugovich. We've just made 4 overtakes. Yep, 4 overtakes in the matter of about, what, 2 corners? And really 3 of them were done in one big long swoop. And a replay showing just a flash of green flying past those 3 cars as we now go back to the live action round the outside of Tsunoda in the second Aston Martin of the night. And then it's going to be a huge dive on the inside of Teo Porcher in the Audi and Nico Hülkenberg in the other Gulf Williams. We're up into points already. P10, and it's only been, what, 2 laps since we began green flag racing, since the safety car. Alonso and Russell fighting and squabbling amongst each other. We're trying to make it 3 wide, but I thought better of it. I could see an absolute monumental car crash happening, and there has been a slight car crash because Russell definitely gave me a little love tap for good luck on the rear end there, but in the end, he's going to be powerless, as is Fernando Alonso, as we squeeze him to the inside. Alonso, again, just like Russell, not wanting to give up that position. A bit of contact made, but it's useless, guys. You guys are on, multiple old laps of hards, and we are on fresh softs. As we see, though, a lead change. It's a 1-2 for McLaren, but it's now Piastri, the reigning champion, ahead of his more junior teammate Liam Lawson there. Lawson has been leading for most of this entire Grand Prix since he made that illegal overtake, but Piastri now takes the lead and could be on for his first race win of this season as we make quick work of our teammate, but Gasly also not wanting to give up the positions. It's admirable. These guys are putting up a bit of a, an intense fight to try and defend, but in the end, mid-corner, the grip I have is just mental on these softs versus hard. So we're up into P6 now on the second last lap of the Grand Prix. It's Piastri from Lawson. Mick Schumacher is in 3rd place in the Ferrari. This would be an incredible position for the German, considering how slow Ferrari were last season. Hardly got on the podium many times at all last season, and with his teammate out the Grand Prix, this could be a huge result for Mick Schumacher, but he's got Ricciardo lurking in his mirrors in the improved Alpine. Leclerc's not too far off, and neither are we. Schumacher goes defensive. Ricciardo pulls out to the right-hand side. The German can't even defend. The Alpine is fully past him even before the brake zone. Leclerc gets caught up on the curb, and we're going to say thank you very much on the inside and catch him napping. He's too busy watching the Ferrari, and we're not going to watch the Ferrari. We're just going to pass the Ferrari through on the left-hand side up into P4. So we're going to do this. We've got 1 lap to go. As long as something doesn't go wrong like it did in Las Vegas going on to the last lap, we are going to get this 3rd place and get back on the podium as Schumacher. Oh, it's all unraveling for the German. Oh, dearie me. He's passed by Leclerc. He's going to come back at him, though. But Ocon is sniffing around. Schumacher could be down to as low as P7 from what was a podium only a lap ago as we, speaking about the podium, overtake Ricciardo up into third place. But look at the gap ahead. 4-5 seconds to Piastri and Lawson there. And Schumacher does get overtaken by the Alpine, but stays ahead of the Mercedes as Ricciardo, oh my god, Ricciardo, huge dive bomb. Our old teammate from season 2 tries to be very heroic in the last few corners to try and get the podium back, but it's no use. We're going to hold it and we're going to get third place. But looking at the pace of these guys, I just don't think we would have got this third place if it wasn't for that pit stop. I think I already know some of you will still be thinking we should have stayed out and we could have fought for second or the win. I disagree. I don't think, looking at the pace of everyone else, I think we would have struggled to get to third place without that extra pit stop. And that's what we did, and we've got our first podium of the year.
Another Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is over then, and what a special race this was. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt, they'll be celebrating tonight.
Well, it's that elusive race win at Abu Dhabi that Piastri was fishing for last season when he was in that title decider with Max Verstappen. He's won it now here in the 4th season in 2026. It's a McLaren 1-2, which is a little bit worrying and ominous. They look really quick around here, but it could just be track dependent because, of course, at Las Vegas, you know, just last episode, they didn't really look that quick at all. I mean, we caught up to them and overtook both of them before that jammed gear issue. So, yeah, we'll see how the next couple of races go. We've got a few different tracks. You know, Spain's very different. Then you go to Monaco. So it's hard to tell. But at least at a track like this, McLaren really clearly were the quickest cars around. But a third place for us, 16 points with the fast lap of the Grand Prix. I'll take it. It's our first podium of the season. So we've got to treat this like the kickstart to our season, really. The first 2, we had reliability issues. We've sorted those out, hopefully. And this is really the beginning of our 2026 season. And we showed some electric pace. You know, we just need to maybe solve, well, I don't really know how we solve the tyre issues. That's a little concerning, to be honest, the way the temperatures just went up so much on the mediums in the first stint. You know, you can't really resolve that. There's no other upgrade to solve that, so I don't know what we're going to do about that. It may just be about trying to strategically pit at the right time, maybe pitting earlier consistently over the course of the season to always go on a fresh tyre when those tyre temps flare up. But, you know, stark difference from the beginning of the season. We're now, you know, obviously second place with Lamborghini, but look at that, 54 points to McLaren. They are once again the team to maybe try and beat in the Constructors, but we did it last season and we can do it again, hopefully. But look at Alpine flying high, P3 ahead of Red Bull now because of Fernando Alonso's issues, and Ricciardo and Ocon had a very solid race. So it's a really great start to the season for the French outfit. Must be commended to them. But guys, if you have enjoyed that enthralling Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.